Salute. How's everyone going? So look, today we're having a conversation about the Charlotte Hornets. Man, Michael Jordan just sold the team for $3 billion. Went from 275 million in 2013 to $3 billion. And the question we're gonna ask ourselves, why would someone sell a team when you're more profitable now than you've ever been? Why would you sell the team? It makes no sense. To me, it doesn't make no sense. And today we're going to discuss it, right? So now, amongst the owners, we have J.Cole, Eric Church. Both of them are hometown North Carolina heroes, right? Both involved in the music industry. But there's some people included that are not being talked about. And I always like to know the things that are in between. Why y'all not talking about these guys? Who are these people? What's up with them? How did they get included to the party? I didn't get called. I didn't receive a message about the opportunity to buy the team. Right? So we're going to discuss that. So look. So first things first, what we want to do is, since we're talking about basketball, I think that it's important to take out the time to acknowledge this family right here. So this week has been especially challenging for the James family. Bronny James suffered a cardiac arrest earlier this week. So we want to say that our thoughts are with them and the family as he continues to recover. And really our thoughts are with everyone who's dealing with anything challenging at this moment. We're not going to just shine the light only on him. Everyone around the world is experiencing something in some way, shape, or form, right? So now back to the Hornets, right? Man, tell me about your back in the day stories, like when you were first introduced to the Hornets. Me, I remember, man, touchdown 93, right? And my friend at the time, Noble, Nazim, and Nick, they introduced me to NBA Live. And at this time, it was NBA Live 93. Man, listen, I have a Nintendo, and I want to say we were playing it on Sega. It had to be Sega, something like that, right? It's a game system, right? And I remember I used to love using the Hornets because on the Hornets at the time, on 93, you had Glenn Rice, you had Larry Johnson, you had Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues, all those guys on the team, right? And you could count on them whenever you needed. Pull up, and they could carry through, right? So Glenn Rice was known for being like, I think he was a two guard at the time. Yeah, he was a two. Muggsy Bogues was a one, and I think Alonzo was a five, and Larry Johnson was like a three or something like that. And Larry Johnson had those crazy commercials where he would be dressed up like a grandma, and he had like a crazy free throw where he shoot it over his head like this, right? And so those are my memories of the Charlotte Hornets. What about yourselves? What are your earliest memories about the Charlotte Hornets? Those are the things that I recall the most when I first really started paying attention to them, right? So anyway, back to the story, back to the monies, right? Because I'm here for it. I'm here for the monies. All right, so we're going to discuss it. So this is what they say. This is official posting, right? This is what they say. What they're saying is, let me get this right. Oh, hold on. I'm struggling. Hold on. Now I'm messing up. Hold up. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm messing up. All right. Anyway, so we're gonna do bam. All right. So anyway, so this is what happens. All right. I think I'm good now. So what happens was the Hornets officially announced, right? Now Michael Jordan's been trying to get rid of his major stake in the business. And I always wondered, why would somebody want to give up a major stake? I've seen this happen a multitude of times. I've seen it happen when I've looked up Fenty and to see how like the ownership stake works with that company. I saw how the transaction went down with Oprah when she had her major stake and then the minority shareholders in her business. it was always interesting to me how it went down, right? So anyway, back to the story, right? So here it is right here. The Hornets have announced that Michael Jordan has reached an agreement to sell his majority stake, right? And Gabe Plotkin, who's acquired a minority stake in the Hornets in 2019, has been the alternate governor of the NBA Board of Governors since 2019. He's also the founder and the chief investment officer of Tailwood Capital. And then you have Schnall, who's a co-president of CBDR, right? And so on and so forth. These are all guys, and that doesn't even really matter, right? But we're gonna get into it, right? I'm gonna peel back some layers on who these guys are, who these chaps are, who popped up out of nowhere to move in to make a $3 billion transaction happen, right? So you had these guys, you had, like I said, Gabe Plotkin, and then you had Rick Schnall. Then those two are the guys who have the biggest stakes, and then you have the guy Chris Shumway. You have a guy named Dan Sandheim, a guy named Ian Loring, a company by the name of Dial Home Court Partners, and then you had J.Cole, Eric Church, and then you had some people that slid in there. They slid in there. You had a woman by the name of Adam Levine, Dawson, Damian Mills, right? So these are all people who were included in the transaction. So let's see if we can unpack some layers, right? Because I think it's important to really shine light on the stars who are included in the transactions, but I'm interested in the money, the real money that comes in the transaction. Now, not to downplay J. Cole's stake, I think that it's important to point out that J. Cole has been making money moves, right? Now, this year was one of his best years at Dreamville here in Raleigh, North Carolina. One of the best years. The city's excited about it. All the businesses are really ranting and raving about it, and they're looking forward to it happening next year. So he's doing big things in the Raleigh-Durham area. So then now you have him making moves in Charlotte too, CLT, right? And what you can find out is that he's now being documented as being worth $60 million, right? And he makes his money in a multitude of different ways. He's got a nonprofit organization. He was born in Fayetteville. He went to school at St. John's University, and he studied computer science and communications, all these different things. He has the Dreamville Foundation. He has the Dreamville Foundation right here, and the Dreamville Foundation helps to do things charitable out here in the community. The Dreamville bridges the gap between the worlds of opportunity for urban youth, dedicated to providing programs, events, charitable donations that empower and inspire our youth to achieve success in reaching their dreams. Salute to J. Cole for doing that, right? Doing his work. And man, I think that's good, right? I appreciate it. Now, I appreciate our brother right here, right? North Carolina's own, Eric Church, right? So Eric Church is involved in the transaction, right? So he went to ASU, and that is Appalachian State. Go Boom, right? And so he went and participated in the transaction. So we get there, right? So let's get to the money, guys, right? Those are the guys we know the most about. Let's talk about the guys we don't know the most about, right? I want to know about those guys. What do you guys think? Do you guys want to know about that kind of stuff? All right. Here we go. So here we go. Right? So Gabe Plotkin. Who's Gabe Plotkin, right? He's like I said, he's a minority owner. He was a minority owner of the Hornets, right? And he began purchasing shares back in 2020. Jordan and Plotkin have been investing partners previously. They allege Plotkin lost $500 million of Jordan's money. Now, hold on. Now, if you lost 500 million of my dollars, would I be selling you my business? I mean, does that sound like a penalty to you? It doesn't sound like a penalty to me, right? So apparently they have something going on. So they said that they allege that Plotkin lost $500 million of Jordan's money, right? Plotkin made his fortune, and he's the founder of Melvin Capital, which has earned some notoriety recently in 2020 when we had the short squeeze, right, with GameStop, where the Wall Street bets guys, they were ganging up. They figured out that Melvin Capital was shorting a GameStop stock. So what they did was drive up the price because the process of them shorting the stock, they were betting on the stock going down. And then the Wall Street bets guy says, hey, we see that you guys are betting on it going down. Let's figure out how to make it go up, right? So they ganged up everybody on the internet, locked arms, and they said, listen, we're going to make these guys break as much as possible, right? So we're going to make them lose money. And then they ran that price up, right? And everybody was in there buying GameStop stock in order to drive the price up, holding it, waiting for the price to go up and then dumping it. Boom, right? So that was the short squeeze that happened with GameStop. And I might not participated in that. Who knows, right? So what happened was he he was known for that transaction, right? Going down, and he graduated from Northwest, whatever, right? And they say his estimated net worth is $400 million as of 2021, right? It's unclear. His net worth changed over the 2 years whenever they were doing the short squeeze or what have you, right? So then we have this other guy, Rick Schnall, right? So Rick Schnall, he's previously a minority owner of the Hawks. He bought a piece of the team back in 2015 as part of the group that was led by the previous owner, Tony Ressler, right? He's now in the process of selling his stake in the Hawks, right? He built his fortune as a co-founder of a private equity firm, CDR, in New York, right? He's worked for the last 27 years with that company. He graduated from PA, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard Business School, right? Right. So now they say his estimated net worth is $5 million. Now, hold up. Now, how is it that someone can be a majority shareholder in a team, and you're saying his net worth is worth 5 million? Come on now. Now, the math is not a math thing. How is it? It doesn't make sense to me. If J.Cole's worth 60 million and he's a smaller shareholder, how is this guy worth 5 million and he's the majority? He's one of the bigger owners, right? Doesn't make sense to me. Whatever, right? You know the the cards are shuffling, right? The cards are shuffling. Who knows what's really going on, right? So then we're back here, back here. So then here you go with the rest of the gang, right? So you have remember I said there was a guy named Chris Shemway that's documented here. Chris Shemway, Dan Sanburn, Ian Loring, this Dow Home Court Partners, and then you have J. Cole and Eric Church, and then you have Amy Levine, Dawson, and you also have this gentleman, distinguished A&T Aggie, Damian Mills, right? So those are the people who are involved in the transaction, right? On a small scale. So let me share a little bit of information with you all. So here we go. So who is Chris? Matter of fact, who is? We talked about our boy right here, Gabe Plotkin, right? Gabe Plotkin was part of Melvin Capital. Now, what's really interesting to me is that Melvin Capital actually shut down. They shut down recently as a result of all the money that they lost as a result of that short squeeze. So now the math is not really mathing to me. So here you are, you have a hedge fund that shuts down, and somehow you can come up with the money for you to buy a team. So to me, it's not really making sense. Your business shut down, the book of business that you were doing shut down. So now you all of a sudden in position for you to make moves, right? Doesn't make sense to me. Right? So that was Melvin Capital. That's Gabe Plotkin. Then we have the other gentleman. Then we have this other gentleman, Rick Schnall. Rick Schnall. Here it is right here. This is the company right here. So CD and R has ownership stakes in these guys right here. These are the guys that they own, right? They own B&M Retail, Envision, the Hertz Corporation. They own U.S. Foods, U.S. Foods, distributing all your foods, Sally Beauty, uh, VWR International, the Break Brothers, Kinko's, FedEx Kinko's, right? The Uniroyal, Lexmark. In 2023, they were ranked the 17th in private equity international, right? 17th in the world. So that's the company that this guy's been running for a long time, right? And now it's not a company that was started by him, but these are some of the most notable things that this company has done that he was working with, right? So right here, you had in 1988 they bought Uniroyal Goodwrench Tires, and they have a 50% stake in that for 225 million. All right, and then they say the tire company was sold to Michelin in 1989 as well. These guys are making all kinds of moves, right? Then you have Lexmark, right? Uh, they formed Lexmark, and Lexmark Printers are their company, right? And you have Jack Welch of GE joined CDR in 2001, 2003. They have Culligan International and Viola Environment. All right, it's branded as a French transnational company with activities in main service, three main service and utility areas traditionally managed by public utilities. Ho ho! They owned Viola, which was Suez. Ooh, that's monies. Listen, utilities don't go away, guys. Utilities don't go away, and this is big. Oh wow, that's big money. That's big money. All right. Anyway, so look, you guys can get back to that, right? So let's just see how much money they manage. How about that? Let's just worry about that. They have $57 billion under management, right? Assets under management, $57 billion. So that's big money. Big money. All right. So moving on. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's real money. All right. So here's the next chap right here. Next chap is there on the list. Here's this guy, Chris Shumway, right? Chris Shumway understands passion, vision, and execution required to achieve sustainable growth. Many layers down. Who is this guy? He's on three boards. He's found two organizations. He's on these three boards right here. He's on the boards. I like this site right here. It's called Crunchbase. It tells you it's like it's looking in someone's books. I like it, right? So that's him, and then we have the next chap right here, Dan Sondheim, right? So Dan Sondheim, he owns this company right here, and he has 24 billion assets under management, right? So he's got $24 billion that he's got under management. The company was founded in 2018. Look at that, 2018. 2018. In 2018, he came up with. In 2018, this man had billions of dollars he had access to. What are y'all doing, man? He's saying you guys are hustling backwards, he says. I did this 5 years ago. I came across a couple of billions. That's what he said. Right. Anyway, so moving on, right? Back to our chap right here. He's got 24 billion assets under management. I'm going to put this stuff in the link, in the description. In 2021, here we go, right here. In 2021, guess what? This man lost $4 billion due to the short squeeze. Now, he lost $4 billion and somehow he was able to come up with the money for him to buy a team. The short squeeze eked out $4 billion. But this man's still able to buy the team. The monies. In 2021, they signed They signed a 10-year lease to open up another office in Miami. This office that he had before was opened, what does it say? It's New York. Why am I even looking? New York, right there. That's where his office is at. Are we able to see it right there? Dang, that looks like a nice office. I like it. Look at that. Also known as 9 West on 57th Street. The money's boy. You know, whenever I see these glass buildings, I know it's money's flowing in there. I know it. But you know what? I tell you what. One thing I don't trust. They can wash it so easily. You know, in America, you never lose, and so you could dissolve the company, write it off as a loss. It's water under the bridge. In a couple of years, you'll be involved in the transaction buying a team. And that's what's happening here, right? So, I don't know, man. These guys never really lose, all right? So let's move on to that next chap, man, because we're not going to get depressed watching these chaps make big moves. Here we go. The next chap on the line is Ian Loring. He's from Boston. He's on 6 boards, and he's ranked as the 21,336 investor here. This guy he's moved around quite a bit. I checked him out. He used to work for Bain Capital. It looked like he worked for Bain, I think, it says it here. He worked for Bain for a very long time. I think it was like 20 years. Here we go. Yeah, from 1996 up until... what was it? No, he worked for Bain for a long time. Where did it go? He said that he worked for Bain. It says he worked for only 4 years, but it's not that long. He worked for Bain for a long time. It was like 20 years. Anyway, so we're gonna move on. So he's a money guy. How much does he have under management, right? It doesn't say. He's on the 6 boards. Here are the different boards that he's on right here. These are all the companies that he sits on the board at. Right? Oh, man. The monies. So, all right. So that's what happens with this chap right here. There's something notable right here that he did. This is something that was notable that he did that I liked. So he donated $10 million to Harvard Business Schools, right, for the diverse MBA program, right? And he graduated from Harvard Business School in 1993, and his family established the Loring Family MBA Pathways Program. The fund will promote educational diversity and opportunity in business leadership by supporting activities aimed at making the school's MBA program more accessible to a wider range of students. Right? To that end, the gift will endow the Summer Venture in Management program and complementary initiatives focused on supporting students from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds. So salute to him out here giving back. Salute. All right. So I'm here for that. It's a free program that brings 180 college students to campus to experience Harvard Business School for a week during the summer through intense case studies, career sessions, and interactions. So salute. All right. So that's big right there, right? He says that all SVMP alumni who later enter the Harvard Business School MBA program will be eligible for an additional $20,000 scholarship on top of their need-based scholarship and will be known as Loring Fellows. So we talk about legacy. We talk about your name being able to be carried throughout history. This is one of the ways that they end up doing it, $10 million. That the interest in those monies will be able to fund the opportunities going into the future for people. The idea is that the interest is supposed to kind of self-pay for those people without really impacting the interest, from what I understand. Right? Impacting the principal, the original money that they end up putting down, right? All right, so keep moving, right? I don't want this video to be too long. This was probably the most interesting part to me. And one of the things that I understand is that, I feel like whenever we play a game, everybody's playing a game from different positions. When we're watching the game, Everyone's watching it from various different vantage point. You have someone that's sitting on the court side. You have someone sitting at the box. You have someone that's sitting maybe in the nosebleeds. There's all sorts of different vantage points that we're watching the game, but we're all watching the same game, right? Now, after going through this transaction and paying attention to it, I have to say that I feel like if you're just a fan, you're watching the game from like a one-sided transaction, a one-sided standpoint. Because the people who are these owners who are sitting courtside, plain dressed, nothing really to see there, they're watching it and they're guarding their investments. That's what they're doing. So salute to them, right? So check this out. So you have this company, Dial Home Court has $500 million in assets committed to a strategy of buying limited partner stakes in NBA franchises. The company announcing its earnings call with analysts on Monday. Now this happened in February. So in February, they have $500 million ready to deploy. That's the specific strategy. Now, what's really unique about these guys, right? To me, this NBA game is looking like a fancy tennis game. I hit it to you, you hit it back to me. I hit it to you, you hit it back to me. And all they're doing is running the money up. Now, this team, this organization right here, Dial Home Court, right? They have, wow. The group represents about 75, the $500 million that they have on hand represents 75% increase in the past 4 months in their capital. And it's ready to deploy buying minority franchise stakes. The asset manager, a subsidiary of publicly traded Blue Owl, previously told investors that home court assets amounted to $283 million as of October 31st, 2022. That's big, man. This is the stuff that I talk about is not being discussed, man. Like, we can hear about the celebrities, but these are like the real money moves right here. To have $500 million ready to deploy specifically for the purpose of buying teams, man, that's a position. That's one hell of a position. And now they're looking at it. So you have the team as the venue. You have the athletes as the product. You have the people as the money source. And then you have nothing but upside potential. So I think that it's interesting if you really look at it. These guys are aggressively making moves in order for them to make these transactions possible, right? Speaking in prepared remarks to Wall Street analysts, Blue Owl co-president Mike Rees also confirmed that the company sold its minority stake in the Phoenix Suns. An attractive multiple. They had an attractive multiple that they made off selling the Suns, right? Check this out. So they said that this platform right here first reported the sale last week in February 14th, cashing out at the $4 billion valuation. Matt Ishbay paid for a controlling stake of the franchise, which represents 158% gain for Dow in 18 months. 158% gain. We can talk about the athletes. We can talk about the celebrities. But look at the transactions that are happening behind the scenes. Don't get caught up in the fluff, man. Follow the money. This is shocking to me. I can't believe it. Wow. all kinds of backwards, right? So then he says the private equity fund bought into the team, into the team at a valuation of 1.55 billion in July 2021. Man, listen, July 2021, right? July 2021 to February 2023. The valuation went up to $4 billion for that team when they dumped it. Wow, man. I don't know what to say, man. This is mind blowing, if anything, right? Anyway, Dow was approved as the first equity firm allowed to invest in that summer, right? The fund opened with expectations of raising up to $2 billion in capital fairly quickly, but closed in 2021 with a tenth of that, right? So they only had a tenth of the $2 billion, right? Still, the asset manager has purchased LP stakes in the Atlanta Hawks, Sacramento Kings, and in addition to the Suns. Unlike other private equity firms now permitted to buy into NBA teams, Dow can take partial stakes in an unlimited number of franchises, although it has to share part of its earnings from the business with the NBA in return. There was no other discussion of NBA strategy during the presentation with the analysts. Home court's analysts represent less than 1% of Blue Owl's $130 billion assets under management. What do you guys think about that? That's a momentous move right there. Now, the commodities are these athletes on the court. You guys are the engine. You guys are the engine. The people are the fuel. The stadium, the team is the vehicle, the structure of the vehicle that makes it possible. We are the fuel. Us, the people. We are the fuel. Our fandom, our following the team. All the while, these guys are turning crazy profits. I mean, to go from $1.55 billion to $4 billion inside of 24 months. Wow. Wow. I think that is really interesting. And to see like this organization is like being considered or being mentioned like way down there. Way down there, guys. Down there. It's real money. What do you guys think? Should we have private equity firms now investing in these teams? Is it fair? Nothing about life is fair. That's what I said last time. This is an interesting transaction. To me, I salute J.Cole. But when I heard about this private equity firm buying into the NBA, I was shocked. I was shocked. What do you think? So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and finish up our discussion. Let's get into the rest of the people on the line. Nope. Oh man, so this Dow team just really it was like a gut punch for me, man. I was saying to myself, I don't experience FOMO as a result of this, but I do think that it's an opportunity for you to really consider like the whole benefit of positionality, how it works. Being in position, man. Who knows how they attain that money? Who knows who was involved in the whole transaction going down? Speaking of people who were involved in the transaction, so here we have right here, right? So we have Will Key represents multiple investors in the acquisition of Charlotte Hornets, right? Now, in addition, they represented three separate investors, right? J. Cole, um, and Damian Mills. Now, Damian Mills, let me finish mentioning Damian Mills, right? Damian Mills is, we have our boy Eric Church. Salute to him. Where am I at? Oh my God. Damian Mills, right? Damian Mills is an auto dealer, right? So he's an auto dealer. He owns Mills Automotive Group, and at 48 in 2004, he bought his first dealership in Smithfield. Shout out to Johnston County, right? Now, as of 2021, I want to say this article says 2021, he owned 19 dealerships in 4 states. Now, I think he owns more, but he was involved in the transaction. So this law office, Aggie Pride, this law office, oh man, hold on. This law office represented this gentleman, oh, I'm struggling now, rookie, right? They represented J. Cole and Damian Mills as part of the transaction, right? And there's a third person. I don't know why they don't mention the third person, but anyway, this is what happened, right? In addition to the ownership of the Hornets, the transaction includes the Greensboro Swarm, a G League team, the Hornets Venom GT, which is NBA 2K League. I'm guessing that's an esports team, and as well as the management of operations of the home court arena, right? So that's what happened as part of the $3 billion transaction. Now, why do people do this, right? This is what I had to ask myself. I said, why in the world do people get rid of their teams? This is what I said. All right. This is why you do it. Here we go. We're gonna learn a little bit, right? Bam. All right. Why do they do it, right? So selling 51% of your company can bring big rewards for businesses. With recapitalization, with this as a recapitalization strategy, you can do the following, right? Minimize your business risks and your business risks and liabilities. I don't know why I couldn't say that, right? Acquire new capital through a cash payout, right? Gain strategic professional advice from a new source with fresh eyes, right? Then you set yourself up for solid exit within the next 5 to 10 years, right? And you turn over the day-to-day operations to somebody else so you can focus on building the business in other areas, right? It allows them to infuse additional financial capital into the business, and it also allows them to expand into new geographical or product categories that the partners may be familiar with, right? So salute to that as an opportunity. So that company right here, multiple people were involved in the transaction. You said representing J. Cole and Damian, led by Jared Barty. So salute to Jared, right? And included counsel Emerson Garade, and then the associate Christian. Why does Christian not have a picture up here, guys? It's weird. It's really weird. All right. So anyway, then we also had an associate Christian and Ryan McNamara. McNamara, right? The tongue twister. All right. Anyway, so those are the chaps right there who were involved in the transaction. Those guys look like they're having a good day. I'm sure they were, right? Salute to that. All right, moving on. All right, guys. Man. All right. So let's get to the meat. Well, we got to the meat. Let's get to the people who are not being mentioned as much. So here's someone else, right? So I was wondering. I said, why why is this lady Amy Levine Dawson being included, right? And I realized that she's a local businesswoman. You know, she does great things, and she's involved. Her family run the Levine Children's Hospitals. There's four of them. They have a family in Charlotte, and I realized something. There was something I realized. I said, okay, that's her, but why is she really involved? So then I looked, and then I saw that there's a museum that's named after her family. Her dad is Leon Levine, right? This man is from Charlotte. It's from the Charlotte area. It's from Wadesboro, right? Family lived in Rockingham. His brother went on to the military. Ended up being uh, relegated to running a family business, and discovered like a dollar store in Kentucky. And then when he went to Kentucky and discovered the dollar store, he said that, oh, I want to bring a dollar store to North Carolina like I saw in Kentucky. And this man created Family Dollar, right? So he created Family Dollar, and he named it Family Dollar for affordability of merchandise and the demographic that it aimed to serve, right? The Levine capitalized Family Dollar with $3,000, $31,000 back in today's money, his own money, and $3,000 from a partner, right? So he's been doing that since way back in the day, way back in the day. He just recently passed away this year, so condolences to that family. April of this year, he was 85 when he passed away, and I was wondering, I was like, yeah, man, I see it. That makes sense for her to be involved in that transaction. You know, your father owned Family Dollar, and it makes sense for her to be involved. And like I said, they have four children's hospitals that they run, and they are involved in managing. And that's everyone. That's everyone. So then we had our guy that I spoke about, Damian Mills. So that concludes it, man. What do you guys think? That's how the transaction went down. So you had these two chaps right here, Plotkin. Won't let me highlight it. Plotkin and Schnall. And then you have the rest of the buyer group of Chris Shumway, Dan Sondheim, Ian Loring, the Dial Home Court Partners, and then North Carolina natives J.Cole and Eric Church. And then you also had Adam Levine Dawson and Damian Mills. What do you guys think, man? It's big money. Big money going down. So when they go to the games, you know, they're looking at it from a different vantage point. You know, like the whole goal is for the business to appreciate, and then for them to sell their stake and take that and take it somewhere else. What do you think? I'd be interested to hear what you all think. I found it to be really interesting to find out there was a private equity firm that's involved in these transactions. Can't be surprised, but I found it interesting. And it was one of the first of its kind, so in fairness, that's monies. But yeah, appreciate y'all coming through. You know, you can follow us on the various social channels. The links are in the description. Consider subscribing to the channel. And that's what I have for you guys, man. You know, I appreciate y'all coming through. I'd be interested to hear what you all may have to say. Beyond that, I think that it's really an interesting transaction that went down. And salute to everyone involved. Salute to J. Cole, Eric Church, everyone involved. I could only imagine growing up watching the games, and so now you get an opportunity to participate in the games. Matter of fact, J. Cole wanted to be in the locker room, so he went from the locker room to the boardroom. How about that? So salute to that, man. But appreciate y'all coming through. If you would do me a favor, hit the like button, consider subscribing, and beyond that, I appreciate you. If nothing else, hope you are doing well. Maybe this was inspirational for you. Maybe it was shocking to you. I hope it wasn't depressing to you. If it was anything, it was interesting to me. So I appreciate y'all coming through. Till next time, peace.